Sup boys, Ludo here with one of my favorite specs in the game, Outlaw Rogue. Even though I'm not the greatest, but I really enjoy this spec, I really enjoy it. We'll be pushing this to Elite this season. Hopefully this guide will help you out as well to push it to Elite, if that's your goal. So let's get going. Sure, some of you guys watched AVC and saw Outlaw Rogue often, but you know, don't get your hopes up because these guys are best players in the world, and Outlaw is pretty much top 3 hardest specs in the game. So you know, for the average players, it's not gonna look like that. Okay, it's gonna be a B tier spec, if even. Now, the things we need to change on Outlaw Rogue is our Restless Blades passive needs to reduce vanish, it needs to reduce evasion. Okay, other than that, we need 2 cheap shot charges at least, or maybe even lower cooldown on cheap shot or removal of the cooldown, you know, because then we can say Outlaw is a viable spec. Okay, until then it's going to be really bad for the average player, in my opinion, except if you get some more damage boosts or defensive boosts, right? But these things I said would definitely make Outlaw viable. So now, let's get going into the basics. What race are we picking? As you see, I'm playing a Night Elf. Night Elf is usually goated for all rogue specs. Now, why? Well, we have Shadow Melt. That's pretty much the reason. Shadow Melt is such a good ability, but on the rogue it's even a better ability, right? Because of our Subterfuge. So it's pretty much our third charge of Vanish. So it's really good. Now, on the opposite side, we have the Orc, which is a kind of a counter to other rogues. So if you're playing an Orc, you're countering the other rogue in the enemy team. So, you know, Orc has edge over the Night Elf in a rogue v rogue matchup, right? Because of the stun reduction. So, those with the 2 top specs, races, sorry, for the rogue, plus Orc has Blood Fury, very nice as well, right? Now, other than that, you know, human is always a third choice. It's always solid. You get the stun removal, you get the secondary stats boost. It's always good. Other than that, honestly, you can pick whatever. You can pick a gnome if you want, you know, you can pick a dwarf. You know, they're all viable. Like, it's not gonna be a huge difference because those 2 first I mentioned are best. It's gonna be like 1% difference, and then all the other are, you know, good, whatever, right? Just don't pick something really bad, like, yeah, I'm not gonna mention Opera. Okay, now stats. What are we running, guys? Okay, well, I'm playing all 3 specs right now, and well, I don't, you know, I went with the sub rogue, so I have daggers and stuff like that. I don't have conquest weapons, but in general, versatility will be your best stat. Okay, so versatility will be your #1 stat by far. Okay, so anything that you can get worse, just get it. Okay, now on the second spot, we have haste and crit. Honestly, haste is better, in my opinion, as a second stat, and then crit as a third stat. Now, even though I have the most of it, it's completely wrong though, but 1 conquest and caps, I'll try to avoid mastery. Mastery is the worst stat for the Outlaw Rogue. It's really meh, you know, it's really bad. So you want to kind of avoid mastery. Okay, this is your worst stat. Like for every class in the game, it's pretty much crit is the worst stat, but for Outlaw Rogue, it's mastery. Okay, so first haste, crit, mastery, stat bonuses. Okay, now for the gear, guys. For the gear, we'll be running 2 tier set. It's really good. Blade rush damage is increased by 30%. That's very nice. The 4 set is looking good actually, but our way to get to it is bad. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's worth to go 4 set, because all the tier sets to get to tier set 4, we get bad stats. We're losing a lot of verse, you know, it's not looking good. So that's the reason why we are not gonna go for set, okay? But even though it's good, but we will not go because it's just gonna give us bad stats, okay? Okay, on the Outlaw Rogue, I'm not using Unused Trinket because it's not that bursty, right? For the enchants, the usual, guys. Speed, helm, shoulders, legs, agility on the chest and on the legs, right? For the weapons, I have the agility as well. Don't look at this one. This was like 50 gold, so I bought it because it's not a gladiator weapon, right? Conquest weapon, so I don't have the best gear. I'm just telling you guys. Okay, so that's for the enchants. For the embellishments, we'll be running Arcana Weave Insight. For the ring enchants, we'll be running Versatility. Same for the gems, pretty much, even though, you know, like, I have wrong gems, but what I would be running is Versatility plus Haste. Okay, so those gems would I be running. And I think we covered everything here, right? Did I miss something? No, I didn't. Okay. Now, for the hero talent, we'll definitely be playing Fatebound. It's just way better. It fits really well. Outlaw. You won't find anyone play Trickster because Fatebound is just better. Okay, so we are not even gonna talk about it. Honestly, it doesn't change your playstyle any different. So we'll just mention a Trickster build, but the gameplay will stay the same. Okay, I'll just mention it. So we'll be going to the left tree first, right tree, mid tree, PvP talents, and then we'll finish it up with the Trickster. So let's get going. Okay, let's get going. Unfortunately, we won't have too many options on the Outlaw because a lot of it is set in stone. So here we have only one optional point. Everything else you see here is pretty much set in stone, except we have, let's say, a few choice nodes we could talk about, right? So for example, elusiveness, like on every rogue, I mentioned it, you know, if you're a beginner, you're not using feint that often, right? Probably. You could always go with the cheat of that, right? It's really solid. It can save you a game, but in the long run, elusiveness is just definitely gonna be better, especially once you know used to it, right? So that's the first choice node. Now, if you're not running elusiveness, then this is not needed anymore, right? So we have then two optional talents. Now, outside of that, blackjack or trick of trades. On Outlaw, probably tricks of trade is generally, you know, even more picked than on the other two picks. It's really good, but again, it's mostly for the coordinated play on the shuffle, especially in the lower rating. It's not gonna do much, but the higher you go, the more useful it will be, right? And then you obviously want to run it with the, where is it? Thick as Thieves. Okay, so you need to combine these two talents. Now, these two optional talents, if we're not running feint, then we would remove this as well, and we could go for something like this. We could put in few options, right? Shiv, it's okay, but honestly on the Outlaw, it's kinda the worst out of all three specs, but it's still completely fine, right? It's gonna be a pretty powerful slow, and well, against Fury Warrior, it could be, you know, useful to spell the Enrage. Shadowrunner is definitely solid, right? Definitely solid, and we could go with this, or we could go with something like Virulent Poisons, but it's not gonna do much, right? We're not a Sin Nation, so all in all, in my opinion, it's just best to go this route, right? Exactly this tree. Even if you're going cheat of that, you know, this looks better than the other options we have here, in my opinion, right? Now the lower tree, we always go this route. And now I've noticed some guys want to opt off this tree, even though like this is what you should be running right now. But if you want to experiment, I'm going to give you an option. If you want to experiment, we are pretty much only running this because of that one extra vanish. Vanish is such a powerful tool. It can win your game. It can, you know, get you kill. It can save you. So we're pretty much running all 4 points because of this. This is the most important thing. Now, if you're feeling like I want to experiment a little bit, we can remove these 4 points, right? We can go 2 points here, 1 point here, 1 point here. Okay? So that's the option we have, right? Now, that'll be it for the left tree. Now for the right tree, we have few options as well. Okay, so here, first choice. So we have 2 optional points, right? We have kind of 2 optional points. And we have few choice nodes. The first one is stamina increased by 5% or movement speed increased by 15%. This is big. This is big. Now, in Arena, this will be more handy, right? In Arena, because, well, it's logical. But in BG, this is gonna be very, very useful. 15% speed, huge in BG, right? But in Arena, this one is gonna be used 90% of the time, right? Second node, reduce the cooldown of grappling hook or blind. Cooldown reduction. 25% is pretty decent, right? On 2 minutes. It's pretty decent. Plus you get the yard increased by 5, right? So this is actually a viable choice, right? Both of them are really viable choices. You just have to decide what... Do you feel like you're gonna need more mobility more often? Or maybe you're playing against double melee, you don't need to run around that much. You can definitely go with the blinding powder. It's really good, right? Then, one of the options we have here is Deadly Pursuit. Really, really good talent, but it's kind of hard to use. Read it out. Because in these, you know, 4 seconds, you have to be tracking it, right? You have to track this talent for it to be good, because it's really good talent, but you have to track it, right? If you don't want to be bothered by tracking something, right? If you don't want to be bothered, I mean, it's really simple, especially if you're low rated, you don't want to be, you know, Outlaw has so much on his plate already. We can go with something more simple. We can go with the Improve Between the Eyes. Just a passive damage boost. It's random, it's RNG, unfortunately, but it is what it is, right? Then we have the Sleight of Hand. Pretty decent as well. Pretty decent. Like, this is a good talent, right? And so we have 4 choices here, and we can ace up your sleeve. 2nd rank, right? The 1st rank you always run, but the 2nd rank you could skip. But if you don't want to run any of these, very good option, right? So any of these 4 are good options, right? This one could be the best if you're gonna track it. If you're not gonna track it, this one, in my opinion, might seem the best. This one can clutch the games, but it's RNG, guys. I'm not a fan of RNG. And this one is also solid, okay? So, in my opinion, I would be running this because I don't really want to track this, even though I think this is the best. Then we have the last row, okay? Everything else is set in stone. This one is gonna be probably the best. Keep it rolling. But then again, it's another keybind, right? It's another keybind. If we don't want to run that, right, we can then again go back to any of these we talked about, right? Now we have 3 options here, and we have 1 option here as well. Not bad either, right? Rank 2 on this. Usually people run rank 1, but we can go rank 2. We just have to decide where we're gonna go with the last point. So then again, we have 4 options here. Whichever we think is gonna come in handy, right? And keep it rolling is the 5th option, but to me personally, you know, once you get good, I would go with the keep it rolling. You get the jackpot, you extend it, it's really, really good. Especially if we're running this, higher chance of that happening. So, okay, that will be it for the right tree. Now for the mid tree, is gonna be locked in, okay? All of the choice nodes, these are the best we have. No question about it, okay? These talents are the best we have. Now for the PvP talents, guys. The best is probably gonna be this setup. Smoke bomb always, no question. Preemptive maneuver we talked about. But if we're running these feint talents, we definitely want to go with this. And then the last option is dismantle. If there is a melee that we want to disarm, or a hunter, right? If not, or we're running Trickster Trade, we can always go with Thick as Thieves, right? But, you know, if not dismantle and not Thick as Thieves, none of those, we could go with something like Turn the Tables. It's pretty solid, especially like playing against a rogue. You know, it's a really solid ability. Outside of that, I mean, Death from Above is okay, nothing crazy. Dagger in the Dark is gonna be kind of weak on Outlaw because we're not that bursty, right? Boarding Party is actually not bad at all. It's pretty solid. So this one is a good option as well. And Ring Up Me Hard is, you know, 5% is not that big, even though it could maybe save your teammate in a clutch situation. So it's not a bad option either, right? So all of these are viable in case, again, Dismantle is going to be best if there is a melee. Thick as Thieves is going to be the best if you're running Tricks of Trade. And now all of these that I mentioned are situational, just depends on the matchup. We can't say which one is the best, right? This one is going to be the best against the rogue. This one is going to be the best if you need some movement speed against like a, you know, something slippery like a mage, right? So it's just situation dependent, okay? Okay, let's get into the Trickster talent tree. Okay, so for the Trickster, I've decided to change things a little bit. We talked about the left tree, I explained it. We'll not, just since we're playing already completely off meta, we'll push it even harder. And we'll go here. We got increased chance, we got increased damage on all of that. Why? Finishing moves have increased chance to critically strike face targets. Well, face targets are pretty much all the time, right? So might as well double down on that, right? Might as well. And then on the right tree, I've changed one talent as well and went with this. Might as well triple down on that, right? Crit stuff. So, in my opinion, if you're gonna go off meta, honestly, this build is not looking bad, okay? So, if I was playing Trickster, I would go this way. Maybe in a Blitz, maybe in a random BG, maybe even try it out in Arena how it is, but, you know. Let's go to the most important part and see how to do damage actually. Okay, so before we get going, for the opener we want to know, you know, we want to apply crippling poison, we want to apply wounding poison, always. No question about it, like we're always going to run these two poisons. Next, before we open, we want to roll the bones, right? Then we're going to sap the healer and open with a cheap shot, right? Or we could even cheap shot the healer, adrenaline rush into, you know, grappling hook into kidney shot on the kill target. Like there's so many combinations, right? There's infinite amount of combinations. But you know, the general rule is you just want to roll the bones and then do your opener, whatever the situation says, right? One of the kind, the worst, but let's imagine we are, you know, kidney shotting the healer, we're gonna jump down, we can adrenaline rush, kidney shot this guy, and we're just gonna start pumping, right? Now, the question is, you saw me use dispatch first. Why? Okay, let me explain now. So, first things first is you want to track your roll the bones. Okay, boom, one of a kind. You always want to roll this, always. Okay, double trouble. It's good, but it's, you know, it's like middle ground. You know, it's good. You might want to roll it, you might not want to roll it. Just roll it if you feel you're lucky. Most of the time you can keep it, it's not gonna be a big deal. Triple or jackpot, so 3 or 4 set, you're always gonna keep, always. Never roll those. But double trouble, you could roll. Then you're gonna get either unlucky or lucky, right? I usually don't roll it, except once again if I'm feeling lucky. but that's not that big of a deal, okay? What I want to say is I'm dispatching first because of Slice and Dice. Like, Slice and Dice is really important ability, right? Really important ability for Outlaw Rogue. And we get that only by dispatching, right? See? We have it here, boom, dispatch, 35 seconds, right? So that should be our first priority. So we have a kind of a damage priority on the Outlaw. I'm gonna try to simplify it as most as I can, but for the spenders, we have only 2 spenders, right? We have dispatch, we have between the eyes, and well, the kidney shot. So first thing at the top is gonna be the dispatch if we have no slice and dice, okay? If we do have slice and dice on, then it's gonna be between the eyes, because between the eyes hits a lot, especially if it crits, if we're running that talent. Plus, not only that, it gives us buff. Look at this now. Boom, we're gonna dispatch damage increased by 6%, okay? This buff stacks, okay? Plus, between the eyes resets, okay? I'm gonna do it again, boom. We have 2 stacks now. I'm gonna do it again. Well, I can't now. But you get the point, right? So that's gonna be number 2 priority. Number 3 priority is just gonna be dispatch, because we wanna keep slice and dice up for a prolonged period, right? And well, we want to spend combo points because we're playing Fatebound. We want to flip the coins, right? Once we flip the coins, we're doing damage, more damage. And, you know, if we get lucky with the coins, we're going to do big damage. So, that's going to be the priority. Dispatch, no slice and dice, between the eyes, and finally, dispatch, we have slice and dice. Now, kidney shot, it could go, you know, anywhere. If we are gonna lock down the kill, we are gonna put that at priority. If we're gonna cross CC the healer and the kill target, it's gonna be a top priority. At some points, you know, you don't need to use it off cooldown. It's really something that is very situational. You know, oh, in 5 seconds your teammate maybe has CC, so you're not gonna kidney shot. You're just gonna wait for your teammate, right? So you can cross CC. So kidney shot, the priority is low or extremely high, right? It could be above any of it. Now, that's for the combo point spenders. Now for the combo point builders, guys, okay? We will have at the top priority pistol shot with the procs, okay? With the procs. Now we don't have any procs, but once we do, it will be the top priority. The next will be ambush, okay? And after that, it will be sinister strike. And after that, it will be pistol shot with no stacks. Okay, when I say with stacks, it could either be 3 stacks or 6 stacks. Doesn't really matter, right? Boom, we have 3 stacks now. We're gonna use it, of course. Boom. Huge priority, right? Now, for the chip shot, it's giving us 1 combo point, but we're not really gonna call that a combo point because we're saving that for CC, right? So if anyone is off DR, we wanna be smart about using chip shot, right? Of course, that's gonna be number 1 priority. Above any damage is CC always. Okay, now outside of that, we always want a blade rush off cooldown. It's a very nice damage. It's also a gap closer, 20-yard range, very nice. You know, we can save grappling hook. We're gonna get a dash to the enemy plus a very good damage. And look at this, while Blade Fury is active, damage to non-primary target is increased by 100%. This is very good. So if we are cleaving, we always want to combine it with the Blade Flurry. Okay, both Blade Rush and Blade Flurry. So it's a really good damage dealer. And we always want to keep this off cooldown because of our... So we're coming now to the next thing. Restless Blades, guys. This is reducing the cooldown of our skills per combo point, right? That's why we want to use high combo points on this patch, not only because of the coins, right? So it's going to reset our Between the Eyes, it's going to reset our Blade Rush, it's going to reset our Adrenaline Rush, all that stuff, right? Unfortunately, it's not going to do any more Vanish and Evasion like it did in the past, but it's really, really important, okay? So, whenever there's 2 or more targets, you Blade Flurry, and of course, Blade Rush. Rolled Bones we talked about. Now, the last thing is Adrenaline Rush. We pretty much want to use this off cooldown as well. Especially, well, we kind of want to save this only if we're already at max combo points, right? Because this gives us 7 combo points. So if we're at max combo points, we can save this and do it next global after spending our combo points, okay? And then last preparation, if we have Adrenaline Rush on cooldown, if we have Between the Eyes and Blade Rush, we can just click this and, well, do a full go, right? So this is a really good ability, but honestly I don't like it. Okay. Okay, so I think we covered everything. The priority is there. Unfortunately, we are not that high burst class, but we can chain CC and make a very nice go for both us and our teammates, right? By the way, if the video is helping you out, don't forget to like and subscribe to boy. Let's get to the next part. Utility CC defensives, okay? So unfortunately, Outlaw before was the tankiest rogue class, okay? Because, as I said, Restless Blades. It was reducing cooldown and vanish and evasion. Currently, that's not the case, and Outlaw is not that tanky. The only thing that's making us tanky is like this 5% stamina buff and, you know, a few of those things, but it's not a brawler that it used to be, unfortunately. So defensive-wise, we have everything the same. Evasion, dodge 100%, but it only works if the target is in front of you. Okay, if he's hitting you from behind, it's not gonna work. Cloak of Shadows, very, very powerful against casters, right? Even against some melees. For example, Paladin, boom, you cloak, he can't do a lot of damage to you. Anything that spell damage, you're immune. Very nice, right? Paint, very, very useful if you're running all the talents that I mentioned here, right? So you want to be using this very often. It's low energy and it's very short cooldown. Vanish, we are usually using this to secure kills rather than defensive, but if it's our last, you know, last stop, we're gonna use it. And then Smoke Bomb again. It could be used defensively, but in 99% of the times you wanna be using this on the kill target, right? How you use this is you just kidney shot the kill target, boom, you Smoke Bomb, he's locked down, and then you can chip shot him after that, right? Now defensively, boom, you can Smoke Bomb. I don't know, you're playing against the Hunter, you're playing against the Deathrow, your healer is locked, you're trapped, 6 seconds, right? Boom, you can just Smoke Bomb, and they can't hit you. Projectiles won't go in, right? So, but that's only in the worst case scenario, right? You usually want to save it for the kill. Okay. Now for the CC, we have a lot of CC. So we have the cheap shot, 4-second stun in PvP. So 6, but it's 4. But we usually want to kidney over the cheap shot because of the DR, right? DR halves the duration of the stuns. So the kidney into cheap shot will be definitely way better than the other way around, right? We want to usually combine, you know, cheap shot one target and kidney the other target, and that's the cross CC I'm talking about all the time. We can do that with the grappling hook moving around, right? Then we can, after that, chip shot the other, you know, blind, sorry, the other target. Blind is off GCD as well, so we can be casting while blinding. Very nice. And we have the gouge lastly. The only thing about the gouge is you have to be in front of the target, right? You can't be behind it, so sometimes it can be tricky in PvP. Or if you're playing against good players, they'll know it, they'll turn around, right? And of course we have the dismantle, very simple, it's just disarm, you know, you disarm Hunter, Rogue, Warrior, whoever needs to be disarmed, right? So, for the mobility, sprint, very self-explanatory, huge movement speed, 100% up. Grappling hook, now for the grappling hook, probably you don't even notice it, some of the guys, but that's rival, very, very interesting. We can grapple hook and grapple back, and it's just gonna be, you know, one grapple. It's not gonna count as 2 because we have, you see, 3 seconds of downtime to use it for free or no cooldown. So this is good, and you should be abusing that, right? You should be abusing that. Outside of that, well, that's pretty much it for the rogue, right? And Crimson Vial, it's a small heal, nothing crazy, right? I wish it was on no GCD, but it's on GCD. But it's, of course, it's worth pressing whenever you know your healer is in at least mini CC. It's like a mini wall, but it's not. It's just a heal. So now let's get into macros. Okay guys, for the macros is gonna be pretty simple. It's just gonna be arena 1 to 3 macros. It's mostly gonna be like gouge 1 to 3, blind 1 to 3, you know, cheap shot 1 to 3, kidney shot 1 to 3, all that stuff, sap 1 to 3, right? Dismantle 1 to 3. So I have all of those, plus I have a grapple on the cursor. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for macros. I know it's a lot. I said it's simple, but it's a lot of them. I mean, realistically, you don't need them, but you know, if you wanna be a good rogue, it's probably good to have them, right? Now for the addons, guys. For the addons, I have a full UI guide, okay, on the YouTube. Now, also I have Discord server with all my import links for my profiles of all the addons, right? So, you know, check that out if you want to have the same UI as me. And drop by and say hello. Shuffle, Blitz 2s, 3s, how is Outlaw looking? So in the shuffle, it's probably gonna be the weakest bracket for Outlaw because, well, you're not that high damage dealer. Plus, your teammates will unfortunately be DRing and, you know, fucking up your stuns when you wanna make a play, lock down the targets. You know, that's gonna be your worst bracket for sure. It's definitely like a low B tier spec. Okay, and shuffle. Now in 2s, again, it's not that great, but it's not bad, definitely. But the problem is you need to play with aggressive healer, which can help you DPS, because, well, you know, if you're playing against another melee, he'll probably out DPS you, right? So, you definitely want to play with offensive heal like Press Evoker, like Discipline Priest, you know, Rest Druid is good. I've seen a pretty decent rating in 2s last season with Prot Paladin. That was kind of scary, I ain't gonna lie. That was really good. So Prot Paladin can definitely work, and of course you can always play with a mage, right? Double DPS. Now for the 3s, of course, this is gonna be your best bracket. Mage, Fire Mage, Frost Mage, always insane with Outlaw, right? Now outside of that, we all know that. I remember last season, really scary was Outlaw Destrolock. Okay, so that's pretty damn good as well. If it's more like a setup based, right? So those were my top 3. Everything else is, you know, okay, nothing special. So if you take the logic from these 3 comps, it's mostly you want to take a high burst caster, which you can help down, you know, lock the target. You can peel for them. That's the point of the Outlaw, right? You're gonna take a high, you know, scary caster with you, and you're gonna lock down the targets for them. You're gonna peel for them. You're gonna do many things, right? So those are the best comps in 3s in my opinion. Now for the Blitz, Outlaw is surprisingly good. You can, well, brawl with many guys 1v1. You're very, very mobile, probably one of the most mobile out of side, you know, Preservation, Evoker and stuff like Mistweaver. Top 3 most mobile classes around, right? You're very mobile, especially on the flag carry maps. You can grapple hook, you can, you know, on the Marathi Basin, you can move around with the grapple hook. Like, grapple hook is so good in Blitz. So in Blitz, it's definitely good, okay? Now in teamfights, it's not gonna be that crazy good, but, you know, it's still gonna be very decent because of the Blade Fury, right? It's really good to cleave. Plus, Blade Rush, we talked about it, it's really decent damage. In 1v1, it's not gonna be as scary as a Sub Rogue, or even a Sination would be better, you know, in my opinion, it's a little bit more scary than Outlaw. But it's decent. You can definitely 1v1, you know, Warrior, DK, stuff like that, okay? Obviously, you'll need to play it perfectly, but it's decent if you play it well, right? Okay, let's get into the strike and difficulty. So the document from the last year when we were pushing every single class to elite and spec, which is gonna, you know, rate Outlaw now. We did 15 specs by now. Outlaw is the 16th. Let's see how is Outlaw. So strength for Outlaw is gonna be like, honestly guys, it's gonna be like a 6.5. It's actually decent, but it's hard, you know. So that kind of weakens it. Now for the Trickster, it's gonna be 5. It's really Fatebound is the go-to. Trickster, you know, it's playable, but whatever. Like this is a C tier, this is a B tier, right? Okay, so B tier spec, Trickster is a C tier spec. Now for the difficulty, it's gonna be the same across the board. I'm definitely gonna rank Outlaw a 9 out of 10. Okay. Now if this was last season, I would probably go with a 10. Okay. It doesn't feel that hard anymore. It's very complex. It's insanely high skill, you know, cap. But I would say it got simplified a little bit from the last season. Thankfully, it was insanely hard. It was the hardest spec in the game, in my opinion. Now, if you play another melee, plus if you play other rogues, I think the skill carries over a little to Outlaw. Okay. So 9 out of 10 is fair, I think. It's harder than Sub and Assassination, in my opinion, definitely. Now, there are harder classes than Outlaw right now, in my opinion. Okay? And that would be, for me, at least, Feral and Affliction. Okay? They're really tough. This could be subjective because Outlaw is definitely easier than those two, in my opinion, for me personally. But for some guys, I see how it could be more difficult. That's why I'm gonna rate it definitely 9 out of 10, right? Now to get Elite, we could even say it's gonna be a 9.5. Okay. Let's just leave it at, let's leave it at 9.5. It's low damage class. It's, you know, dependent on CC. I think for Elite it's gonna be even harder, 9.5. But in general, it's a 9 out of 10 class. Okay. This is subjective though. For some it could be 10. For some it could be 8. But it's gonna be, you know, from 8, 9, 10, around this level. Okay. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, drop a like and sub. And now I'll post some shuffle games, you know, just so you have some reference of gameplay. Again, I'm not the greatest Outlaw Rogue, but it's pretty decent, I think. We're around top 100. Now, after this, I'll be doing a Druid guide. We'll be going balance, we'll go, you know, boomy, feral. So stay tuned for that if you're interested, and I'll see you soon. Okay, boys, I'm a little bit late. Give me a second. Let's get going. Oh no. That's fine. Disarm him instantly. Oh, my disarm is not keybind properly. Okay, this game's starting out scuffed. But that's fine. We're gonna disarm the rogue then. Oh, I got disarm, okay. One of a kind for real. Let's go, baby! That's how we roll! That's how we roll. You're a bit late. It is what it is. Let me, there we go. Vanish? Okay. Good. Good, good, good. I mean, troll. He's gonna kidney this, so his true shot is down into the disarm. There we go. Kinda destroyed his burst. Do we need to evade on this? I don't think so. Very nice. Ooh, check. Okay, let's go. Kick this guy. Will this sphere ever break? God damn. We have a kidney soon. I'm just gonna. Oh, okay. Very nice. I honestly just want to wait for the kidney, but Paladin did it, so very good. Come on, bro, do some damage. I kick this. Woo! Look at the damage. Let's go. You never expect it because nobody uses Chrono Loop? Yeah. It's very niche, very interesting, yeah. It's cool. Like, I wouldn't even know that if that happened to me. It's pretty cool. Ooh, it's the same mage, okay. Okay. Top damage as an outlaw in this lobby. I don't know. Not bad. Oh, I forgot it's Demon Hunter. Oh, never mind, we got him. Let's try to instantly maybe kill something. Seems like nothing. Karma instantly, okay.
Ah, disarm, 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 bro.
Okay.